Ladies and gentlemen, we are hopping into our fourth and final round for our week one of the Budget Pirate Progression Series recap analysis breakdowns. I won't lie, we got paired up again against Marshall D. Teach, the BlackBeard leader, and this one was a rough one for me in round number 4. But without any spoilers, let's hop straight into the game to see how we did here. We start off by rolling the dice. I rolled 8, and my opponent cuts my deck here. He brings out his dice and he's going to roll a 6. I did win the die roll, and I decided to take second here in order to steal his even curve for the BlackBeard 10 drop character. He's going to start off with his 1 Dawn turn, no immediate play. I draw for turn here, and I'm going to play out my 2 Dawn, and we have our 1 cost searcher event. Look at the top 3 cards here, and we do see a Chopamon and a Luffy Taro here. We know that on playabilities are going to be turned off, so we do opt to grab the Luffy Taro, because even though we can't use it for its ability, it will be a higher cost unit that might be able to give us some board presence in the late game. He's hopping straight into his 3 Dawn turn here, and let's see what he decides to do here. He's thinking about if he wants to attach Dawn to leader or if he wants to play out some characters. Seeing as I don't have any small characters on board, there's a few things that he can do with it. He's going to swing 6 at life. I'm just going to opt to take, because I think at this point I don't have a lot of counter in hand. Going back and forth on it. I do have a 2K available, and I am just going to opt to use it because I know that the late game life is going to be more important. After countering out of it, he's going to play down a Dock Q, setting up for his next turn. And he's thinking about what to pitch for leader ability, pitches out a Vasco shot, and passes the turn. Heading into our 4 Dawn turn here, I'm just going to start by swinging 5 at life. He's thinking about it, and he's just going to opt to take it here. No trigger immediately. I'm going to leader ability, add 1 Dawn, and then I'm just going to tap all 5 Dawn. Thinking about whether I want to play out the Sangro or the Jinbei here, but I have to play out the Sangro, hopefully to get the when attacking ability to draw 1 card next turn. Pass it over to him. 5 Dawn turn. This gives him quite a few options, as he has out the Dock Q already to be able to control my board throughout the game. He's going to start by tapping 4 Dawn, it looks like, playing out the Laboon, minusing the cost of Sangro and using the Dock Q to get rid of Sangro. So at this point, he's already establishing board presence. I know that if I attack the Dock Q, he's going to get to draw a card. He's going to leader ability here, and thinking about swinging for 6 into life. I am going to take this one. No counter, no trigger off that one. I'm going to draw for turn. I see another Luffy Taro here. Going into my 7 Dawn turn, thinking about whether I would just want to send it all into Luffy Taro, if that would be the best option. We don't have our on play abilities turned on here, so it might not be the best option for us. Also thinking about attaching some Dawn to leader, and we're going to swing 8K into the Laboon here to hopefully control his board, making it so he can't swing back at us. I'm just going to play down 4 for the Zoro, because the Zoro does not give us any counter in hand, and on play abilities are turned off either way. Going into his 7 Dawn turn here. This is where things start to get a little out of hand with the control that he has, because he's just going to set aside 4 Dawn. Makes me already think that he has another Laboon to follow up the play, meaning that my previous turn would essentially be worth nothing. And he's thinking about it, thinking if he wants to tap 1 Dawn first, and he's going to tap 5 Dawn actually, and he plays out the Van Augur, which essentially has the same effect, tapping both characters to get rid of the Zoro. And he'll pitch a 2K counter for his leader ability, and he's just going to go 7 into lead here with his BlackBeard leader. And I have to take it. Not a whole lot of counter in hand, and kind of want to be able to see more options here. Restand leader, set up my Dawn, and that puts us on our 9 Dawn turn here. A little scary at this point. He has 4 life remaining, and I'm not really sure what to go with here. to be able to kill the Van Augur while establishing some board presence. Because I need to be able to attack life while also clearing his board while establishing a board of my own. So I'm just going to swing 9 into 6 here to KO the Van Augur so that hopefully I can get a body on board that will stick. And I'm going to tap 5 Dawn here, play out the Sanguro, once again hoping that in the next turn I might be able to establish some card advantage, because he has to pitch 1 card every turn. Sanguro getting to draw me a card every turn would be very helpful in this instance. Going into his 9 Dawn turn here, he has quite a few options. He sets aside another 4 Dawn, meaning that he could have a Laboon, could have a Finger Pistol in hand, could have another Van Augur. But he's just going to start by using leader ability, that way he doesn't forget for later. He's going to play out the Laboon and Dock Q combo with the Laboon to KO the Sanguro once again. And he's going to play out the Jesus Burgess to establish more board presence and a attacker that's going to hit pretty hard every turn. I believe he's at 6k right now. I'm going to counter out of his 6k leader swing. He's going to pass the turn. Going into 10 Dawn here. There's not a whole lot of options that I have. Down 2 life here. He has a board presence. He's able to clear my whole board with his Dock Q Laboon combo. At this point, I kind of realize a little late that I probably should have cleared the Dock Q, because he had so many different cost reducers here between the 2 Laboons and the Van Augur that things just weren't looking great for me. So I'm just going to swing another 7k into Laboon. Hope he doesn't have another one in his hand. And I'm going to tap 4 Dawn, play out the, I'm thinking about Orobi here. And I go for the Orobi just as a 4/5 character. Then I'm going to play out the Onami as a blocker. Once again, no on-play abilities, which is a little unfortunate. He's going into his 10 Dawn turn here. So this really is where he can start to make things happen. And it's a little bit scary, because if he has it, he's just going to start straight off with it. He pitches out with leader ability, goes up another 1,000 on his Jesus Burgess. 2 cards in hand at this point. He's just going to go 5 into life. And I'm just going to pitch out of it for 1k. I see the 10 Dawn go, and down comes Marshall D. Teach, making it so the Orobi can't attack during my turn. And we are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. He's going to swing 7k with Jesus Burgess. Forced to take the life here, unfortunately. Running low on counter in hand. And he's just going to pass it over. At this point, I have 10 Dawn, not a whole lot of counter in hand, not a whole lot of options to go with. I have 2 Luffy Taro, and so I'm thinking about whether I just want to start blockering up. Maybe I can go up against the Jesus Burgess. That way he doesn't really have options to swing at me with, but he does have the Marshall D. Teach blocker up. So no matter what I really go for, I know that I need some board presence here. I'm just going to swing 5k into life. He's going to go ahead and take it. And no trigger. I'm going to tap all 10 Dawn and just play out double Jinbei blockers, hopefully to be able to block out his leader and his Jesus Burgess. And I'm going to pass the turn here. Once again, 10 Dawn for BlackBeard. Really hoping at this point that another 10 cost doesn't come down, because that would essentially just seal the game at this point, as I haven't been able to establish a board, and he's really just been able to kind of push through everything I've been able to set up. And with 5 cards in hand here, I only have 2 1k counters. He's going to go ahead and just start off with his leader ability, making it so I don't have any on-play effects here. He's going to start by going 5 into lead. I'm just going to block it with the Jinbei, as it is 7,000 on his turn. He's thinking about whether he wants to play something with it, and he's going to go for My Era Begins. Look at the top couple cards of his deck, look at the top 3, knowing that the other 2 will go to trash. He's going to add another Burgess, 3 more cards to trash, and I believe that will bump up his current Burgess, making it 8,000, meaning I would have to pitch out 2 cards and block with Jinbei to be able to get out of it. He has 2 cards in hand here, and things are looking a little bit rough for me right now. even at best, I could walk out of here with both of my Jinbeis and the Orobi and leader swing, and he still has 9 Dawn up, and so I'm kind of questioning at this point why he didn't attach any Dawn to leader, but I'm thinking maybe he has another cost reducer in hand that he wants to play out to be able to clear some of the blockers, and there's just kind of a couple different options that he's considering because he wants to swing big while holding his Martial D Teach blocker for anything that I happen to put up. He's going to go ahead and swing 8k into life. And I'm thinking about whether I just want to give him the Onami blocker, and I will do just that. And things are looking a little rough here for us. 9 Dawn still up for him. Doc Q still available. And he's thinking about whether he wants to go big with it, and he's just going to attach all 9 Dawn into Doc Q. And he's going to swing big here into the Jinbei. Jinbei's going to go down. And he's counting his cards up one more time, seeing what he wants to do, seeing if he had already pitched for leader ability, and he had. And so he's just going to pass the turn there. We counted the cards in trash, making sure he already pitched, and he had pitched the Van Augur for turn. So just clearing up that little discrepancy right there. And he's thinking about if he wants to swing with blocker, but he'll just pass the turn. At this point, he has 2 cards in hand, and even if I go all in with my board, things are looking a little bit scary. And so I'm just thinking about, is there a way where I can actually establish some board presence while being able to live? And it's not looking great for me right now, being down in board presence and life. So I'm just going to start by swinging 5 into life, hoping maybe he just has more 10 costs in hand that he can't use. I know he has the Jesus Burgess, so he has at least 1k counter in hand. Seeing if I can just pull that out here. Let's see what he decides to do with it. Actually, I think maybe I'm considering swinging into the Doc Q, which it would be a little late for that, or he's just going to counter out with the Jesus Burgess. 1 card left in hand for my opponent here. 3 life remaining still, so things are looking a little bit rough. Trying to think about how I could split my Dawn maybe to get some bigger swings in for the Jesus Burgess. Thinking about if I want to swing into life. Thinking about if I want to establish a bigger body with Luffy Taro or save some Dawn for Hell's Judgment. But no matter what, sitting with about 6 cards in hand here, 3 of them non-counter, 1 of them being an event that requires me to have Dawn up. And so there's just not a whole lot of options available right now. I'm just going to poke 5 at life, seeing what we can do here, seeing maybe we can get the last card out of hand. He's going to flip it up, and it's the Finger Pistol trigger. He's going to KO the Jinbei, and I just decide to scoop it up here at that point. I know there's no chance for me winning with one body on board and his presence that's just going to clap back at me. So that is another win for Martial D Teach, putting my final record for week 1 at 2-2. So one of our more favored matchups, I believe, did end up going the way of my opponents. However, we do still have a lot of tweaks to make to the deck and a lot of progression to make from here. If you guys have any tips for this matchup at all, whether maybe I'm supposed to go first, that way I can kind of get out some more plays earlier on and he can't set up the Laboon with the Doc Q so immediately, or if there's anything I'm doing wrong in the matchup, let me know down in the comments. This is the one that's going to make or break me. I'm certain of it at some point. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you for week 2 of